show. I am your host, Josue Ibarra. This is a show where, again, we're just going to grow together with our walk with God. This is episode number 8 from a segment I call Wednesday's Word from the Wise. I actually have Dylan over here to my right, just an awesome friend of mine from work, and I believe you guys are really going to be blessed by his story of just how him and his wife left their hometown and decided to bring everything out here to THRS Bible College in Colorado. And, what a step of faith you guys took to come out here.
Yeah, it was a huge step of faith. It was, we had never taken anything like that before. It was scary in a lot of places, but it was awesome. Honestly, if I could do it all over again, I would.
Amen. Wow. So, and again, guys, the biggest thing that I believe you guys are going to get from this conversation is just that you can trust God. So just like we said on Monday's segment, Monday message, is we're going to trust fall with God. We're going to lean into God and just trust Him in everything that we do.
I like that.
Yeah.
Trust fall with God.
Yeah.
Dude, that's kind of how it felt, though. Well, really? I like that, man. That's good.
Yeah, so Dylan, just tell us more. So what was the big step? Obviously, I remember some parts of the conversation that we've had before of you bringing out how you and Sabrina first weren't even in the greatest relationship. So, tell us a little bit about that, actually.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we started dating in high school, and, man, we were both kind of grew up in a somewhat of a Christian home. I wouldn't call it a good setting, but I love my parents. They're amazing. And as soon as we got out of high school, we actually both kind of walked away from the Lord.
Okay.
So we kind of turned our backs, and we just started walking down the wrong path, man, getting involved with the wrong people. I remember, I won't go into, details.
Sure.
But I had some friends with all they were doing is just really, really bad worldly stuff, and that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to hang out with them, so I was pretty bad to Sabrina. But we fully believe that the Lord kept us together because it's been amazing getting married so far. Do you want me to keep going into how we got out here? All right. So that's in high school. That's right outside of high school. And then, I'm working in this bar in the state of Texas. It's the busiest bar in the state. And I'm getting out at 5 o'clock in the morning almost every night.
Wow.
And, I just have this thought, man, I can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous. I hate getting out this late. The only friends that I have are the people that I don't really want to be friends with because everyone else is asleep. And, so I had the thought, I can't do this. So I quit my job. Within a week, I got another job where I was actually working get off around 10 p.m. Okay. Got plugged in with my church. And it was really funny because my pastor back home, he was my 3rd and 4th grade teacher.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. That coincidence.
I know, for real. And it's I showed up in the church, and all these people were like, "Hey, are you new? Are you here for the guest speaker? Are you here for the pastor?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've known him for 13 years." But they had never seen me before.
It's actually, you put me in the corner before, so I know.
Yeah, for real. I'm he taught me how to make a potato cannon in the 3rd grade.
Nice.
But so we got plugged in. Sabrina, my wife, she actually started getting plugged into the worship to where at one point she was actually leading worship there.
Wow.
And so that was 2015 through a little bit of 2016. And I went to this conference, the Southwest Believers Convention.
Okay.
And I saw Jesse Duplantis for the first time. I had never heard of him. I was sitting nosebleeds in this back of this conference center. And my stomach's hurting. I'm laughing so hard. It's just hilarious. And then he just starts walking in the Spirit, and he's just calling people out. He's calling out suicide letters and things, and he's just laying hands on people, praying for people. People are just bawling their eyes out. And I'm just in the back because I'd never seen anything like this. My jaw's I'd never seen anything like it before, and I just knew I needed more. I just wanted to pursue more. So I actually looked this guy up on YouTube, Jesse Duplantis. I could barely spell his name. And the first thing I saw was him at THRS Bible College.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, cool. Sounds good. Whatever. And then I think it was the next week, I actually got something in the mail because my dad had been affiliated with THRS a few years back. Okay. And so they actually sent me some information about being in Woodland Park now. And so, yeah, it was amazing. And then the next weekend I'm in church, and I hear the voice of the Lord just in my head. It's really weird. It's hard to explain. But it's you need to go to Bible college. And you need to marry the girl whose life you've been destroying for 4 years.
Wow. Well, real quick first. So, for people listening, hearing God's voice like that. So, what does that mean? How did you hear that? Was it like a Dylan?
I wish, dude. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, because so many people get caught up in that. Like you hear, hey, I heard God's voice. Well, it's like, dang, dude, like I'm not spiritual at all because I don't hear anything. It's like crickets.
I hear you. That's really how I was until that one moment. I had never really heard God's voice before, or at least I never recognized it. But for me, that experience, it came as just this really dominant thought, a thought that was not me. I did not want to get married. I did not want to leave Dallas.
Yeah.
I thought I would like live and die in Dallas.
Oh gosh.
And now I really don't want to go back. Now that I'm following God, I'm done with that place. But it was a thought, and it was in the back right side of my brain. And it's really weird that I can pinpoint the part, but that's not usually where my thoughts are coming from.
Yeah.
And so it was just so dramatically different and so dominant and just so radically just amazing that I was like, man, this is God. Took that step of faith. By the end of the day, that was a Sunday in July of 2016.
Yeah.
We were technically engaged and both applied for school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick. You guys weren't playing.
Oh, yeah, for real. Man, there's been so many things the Lord has told us, and we're just, all right, let's go now. And so I feel like that's why God tells us so late, is because we didn't learn about the whole timing issue until recently. So, yeah, he just tells us quick, and we're like, all right, let's just do it now. Yeah. And then he'll just kind of pull the reins back for us. But he's awesome. So that was late July, and then we got married within a month, and we actually planned a move halfway across the country from Dallas to Colorado in the same time. So we got married August 30th. And then 2 days later, September 1st, we actually moved out to Colorado Springs.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that? How was like moving from, again, you're leaving home and leaving family, leaving what you're familiar with. And sometimes that could be a big step, that can just, especially with what you're familiar with. People are afraid of what they don't know or what they're unsure of. So,
yeah.
How was that?
I hear you, man. So for me, the move itself was really simple. It was really easy because I had a lot of help from my family down in Dallas, which was really surprising because I told them literally the same night, hey, by the way, this girl that I've been on and off again in a relationship, we're going to get married. And they were like, jaws like hit the ground. And I said, and also we're moving to Colorado. What? What are you doing? And so, but for me, it was really simple. And I actually remember asking the Lord a few months after that, or actually about a year after that, I said, Lord, was that a gift of faith? Or was I just that naive? And he goes, you were just that naive.
It's like you're waiting for all right, it's gift of faith.
No.
Naive.
And I was like, no, that's just how I created you, man. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I guess that's why I'm here. But other than that, it was awesome. It was a little bit different for Sabrina. She never really heard that voice of God. She just had kind of a peace about moving, and she just really wanted to get married too. So as soon as I proposed, she's like, yes. So she was excited to leave, and she's always wanted to live in Colorado as well, which is really funny because her parents used to take vacations up here, and her whole family would be like, man, we really want to move to Colorado. We really want to. And we were the first ones. So.
That's crazy. That's pretty funny. It's cool how God will even set those little things that when you're younger you don't even know it. I remember, I don't know if you guys remember that movie El Dorado. Even as a little kid, I used to sing, and for real, for the life of me, I thought it said Colorado, so I'd be Colorado. It's El Dorado.
El Dorado. Yeah, man. I didn't watch that movie until I was 23 years old.
I'll be honest, I still haven't seen it, but the commercial, it came on all the time, and all of a sudden it said Colorado.
That's probably why you thought it was Colorado. You've never even seen the movie, man.
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. But man, so again, you guys took that big step of faith. You guys came out here, and again, it was just all really just trusting God. Yeah. What would you say to people that are just kind of hesitant in that, though? Because there's just so many variables. You don't know. What if you miss it? Okay, I'm going to go out and trust God. But what if it was just me? Did you ever face those thoughts, or could this just be me? I'm pretty sure you had people in your ear telling you that first off, you're way too young to get married. You should probably hold off. Wow, really immediately moving. What's the game plan? Do you even have a job out there? I'm pretty sure you were getting a lot of pressure like that. So how did you overcome that, or how did that just, no, you know what? I'm trusting God. I'm doing it.
You know, that's a good question, but I was laughing because I remember when I told my coworkers, "Hey, I'm getting married in a month and we're moving to Colorado," and they're like, "Is it a shotgun wedding?" No, it's not. We're just following God. What? Yep, following God. And so, yeah, you know, I really, for that specific move, I don't know why. I really didn't have those thoughts of, is this just me? Until until we became homeless at one point.
What the hell? Homeless?
Yeah, we were homeless, man. So, dude, God is good, first off. Let me just clarify that.
Amen.
But when we moved out here, so we were so new to faith, we didn't really know what it meant to kind of walk in faith and trust God. We just went, which I guess really is faith. And we couldn't find a job for the first almost 3 months. And so we stayed on, my cousin's air mattress for 3 weeks, 2 days after we were married, bro. 2 days after we're married, we're on an air mattress. Then her landlord comes by and says, "Hey, I noticed there's 2 extra vehicles outside your house. Either they need to leave or you're all leaving."
Wow.
Yeah, it was a little rough, man. But yeah, so we heard that like on a Tuesday, and we said, you know, we're gonna be out. We'll be gone. We'll be gone by Friday. And we don't know anybody else. That was literally the only person we knew in the state, and we had met her 3 months prior.
Wow.
And she was amazing, love her. But at that point, we kind of got in contact with some people that we never met at school, and they went to night school, we went to day school, and they actually let us stay in their house for 2 months rent free. And
wow.
Yeah, it was a beautiful home, dude. They gave us like the master bedroom and everything. This huge, like beautiful bathtub. It was awesome. And then the only bad thing is it was like an hour away from school, and school. And so after that 2 months was up, I finally got a job. It's my second day of work, and I get a call from my landlord there, and he's like, "Hey, man, dude, this isn't a way that we can run a business. Sorry, brother, but you guys gotta leave by Friday." Wow. We're like, "Oh crap, what do we do now?"
Something about Fridays, man.
Dude, I know. When Fridays come up, I get like scared and
anxious. Freaking Friday. It's like, oh crap, I'm gonna get a call from my landlord.
Oh man. So we were like, all right, you know what? That's fine. We totally understood. I mean, just got 2 months rent free. Heck yeah. And I don't know. It was really weird. I remember on that Friday, Sabrina and I were packing things up. I borrowed $250 from my brother. I totally lied to him. I totally lied. I said, "Hey, dude, we're $200 short of our rent. Can I borrow this?" I really just used it to get a moving truck and a storage building, and then like $50 left over for some food.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But so that Friday night, we're actually staying in a hotel parking lot in my car. And I'm almost in a complete L shape trying to sleep because I had a box behind my seat so that Sabrina could lay down all the way so she could sleep. And it's in the middle of November in Colorado, and she has the only blanket. And so I just have my huge winter jacket over me, and I'm like freezing in this car. I wake up at least 10 times, and in the middle of the night, I say, "God, I will never sleep in my car again." I made just a hard decision before I ever knew I could make that kind of a decision. So I'll never sleep in my car again. And the next day, Sabrina had to go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. I felt so terrible. Just because, like, you just slept in a car, man. Now you got to go to work and try to look nice. I was like, oh, all right.
It's like they get in the car, whatever, like tag things. Like, all right, just a little deodorant here.
No, we made sure to take a shower that day. Our last day at the house, we're like, oh, we got a shower. It was bad. No, not that bad. It could have been way worse. But at that point, the next day, we actually got in contact with some people at school, and they found a lady in Green Mountain Falls, which, you know, is about 15 minutes away from school.
Right.
And she's like, "Yeah, you guys can stay at my house rent free." And she let us stay there another 2 months, completely rent free. Wow. Even like fed us, dude. She was awesome. Wow. And at that point is when we both got hired on at the ministry in the phone center, and we were able to save up enough money to get our own like kind of apartment in Woodland Park. We got an amazing deal because you know the prices up here, dude. We got an amazing deal, like half the price of what typical rent is. And so we actually withdrew from school and just took a year off, just following God, just getting closer to Him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been amazing. But I will say this. So now we live in the beautiful 3-bedroom home.
Yep.
2-car garage. Sabrina has a new car. And us being homeless was almost 2 years ago. So we went from being homeless November 4th
Wow.
to September 1st, living in a beautiful home. So less than a year.
Wow.
Homeless to a 3-bedroom house that overlooks the mountains.
Yeah.
Beautiful place, man.
I honestly wish you guys can see just the mountains that we're looking at right now. I'm at Dylan's house, by the way, and it's gorgeous. Very, very, very gorgeous. And man, God is faithful to His word.
Amen.
Dylan, you said something the other day that just really, made my feet really cold because you blessed my socks off. He said that sometimes people doubt, or like God will give a word, and it may look like, man, I miss God, but it's just that we're not seeing it the way God has seen it. We don't know those other steps. So, I remember I had a youth pastor a while back. Shout out Miss Joanne Kennedy. But I remember one time she brought out a good point of God's perspective on how, when we go to Disneyland. So I just went to Disneyland with my sister, niece, and nephew. Had a great
place
time.
On earth, man.
It was, man. It was great. It was so good. But going through, as we saw the parade, you saw Goofy, you saw Buzz Lightyear. One day we'll have Star Wars on there.
I'm surprised it's not there already.
I know
they own it, dude.
I know. It's just weird.
That's how the word got leaked out. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're good.
People went to Disneyland and they already had props and toys for Star Wars, and that's how everyone found out that they had bought the Lucasfilm.
Wow. Yeah, whatever. But anyways, you see one guy coming at a time. But God's view is kind of He sees the entirety of it. He sees, Goofy, Mickey, Buzz Lightyear all at the same time, where we only see one event at a time. Yeah. And so, that's amazing. You kind of in that moment may have felt like, dude, this sucks.
Yeah.
Being homeless, sleeping in a car. It's not fun.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like fun at all. But now, would you have imagined seeing yourself here? Or did you imagine yourself to see yourself here?
Man, so that's a good question. In the moment of being homeless, first let me backtrack. Ever since I got just kind of turned on to the Lord, I knew that I was almost destined for greatness. And I know it sounds cliche, it really does, but I knew it. I knew that I would be doing something amazing, something big for God. Mm-hmm. And I believe that I'm beginning to walk into that. Yeah. But from that point, I was like, man, maybe we should just pack this thing up and go home. There's nothing out here. So, but yeah, looking back, I never would have thought within a year that we would be where we are or where we were. Yeah. And it's just getting better. It's getting better. God is just getting even better for us, just getting more revelation. So I'm excited for it, dude.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Dylan has just grown so much, and just seeing now, you give so many words to people, and words that have blessed me, and just words that, even with this show, Dylan has given words of, man, God has put something in your heart. You need to go after it, and it's dang it, okay, I need to start doing. I need to start putting my hand to work, and so I mean, you have been a big blessing to me in that, and so, just kind of switching modes. You went from, again, not really having a deep intimacy with God. You're doing you, coming out here, making that move, being homeless for a little season, a very short season, and God just providing for you here and there, here and there, here and there, and now you've grown into this place now where you are prophesying over people, you're giving people words, and people that that just words in due season. Yeah, due season. Dylan the other day gave a word, and a grown doctor just cried his eyes out. But but it's because the word you gave was a word that from God that he needed to hear. Yeah. So will you talk a little bit more about that? How did obviously again you didn't start off giving words. How did that start out?
It didn't start out until I had somebody kind of draw it out of me. My first experience with the word of knowledge was actually at work. A friend of ours, he came up to me, and he was our supervisor at the time, and he goes, "Hey, get ready, I'm coming over." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm fired! I'm fired! What did I do? I'm in trouble." And he just comes over to me, and he's like, "Hey, I see you surrounded, almost like a video game with favor, and you're going to be walking through promotions quickly, and there's all this other amazing things that have come to pass." Yeah. And I was like, "What is this?" I've never experienced it. I didn't know. I'd never really heard of a word of wisdom, word of knowledge, word of prophecy. And so I kind of went on a search for about 2 months, just listening to kind of all I could, reading a bunch of books on it, but I still was struggling to give words because I was like, I don't know how to hear God's voice.
Yeah.
And then I had someone come in and start to teach me. And so basically it was this. Oh, man. He said, you know what? When you look at someone, say, God, what do you want to say to Josue today?
Wow.
And you're like, that's easy. Anybody can do that. And it just a thought just kind of pops into your mind. And then he said, just take it by faith. Take that step of faith. Maybe it's more of a feeling because some people are feelers. And, I really have this feeling that you're feeling this. And so he challenged me to give a word to someone that we knew who was really prophetic. Yeah. Like a really amazing relationship with God. And so I said, fine, I'll give it. And then I sit down at my desk and I'm like, I'm not giving that, dude.
I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it, dude. And the Lord is just like rocking me inside. I mean, just so much pressure just inside, not from outside sources, but from God. I'm like, fine, Lord, what do you want to say to this guy? And he goes, tell him I love him. And that he's I'm proud of him for teaching other people about my love. Wow. And I'm like, seriously, God? You don't think he knows that, dude? What are you talking about? And so I was like, all right, fine. I'll stand up, and if I see him, I'll give it to him. And I stand up, I'm walking around, don't see him. I'm getting ready to turn around and go back to my desk, and as I turn, he's like right in my face. I was like, dang it.
I thought I dodged a bullet here.
I know, for real. And so I talked to him. I said, hey, you know what? I feel like the Lord's telling me this, that he loves you. He's proud of you for teaching other people about his love. And he just kind of stares at me. He's like staring into my soul. It's just weird. He's like, that's 100% accurate. I was like, what? Are you serious? That's amazing. And so it's really hearing his voice. And a lot of times he will give me thoughts. Sometimes they're really strong. Sometimes they're not so strong. But it's taking that step of faith and not being afraid to fail.
Wow. Yeah. That's deep. Taking that step and not being afraid to fail.
Yeah.
And I guess that's something that you've just been living your whole life, though. I mean, from, again, taking that step from home to come out here, that was taking a step and just not being, not afraid to fail, not afraid to be homeless for a little bit, right? I mean, but, again, God is just so faithful in that. And, I think people sometimes just struggle with giving out words because you don't want to end up being like the stinking, car lady, the psych lady that, you will tomorrow use the restroom. Oh my gosh.
No way.
Whoa,
are you
dude.
serious?
You have faced something challenging.
Like you're reading a fortune cookie?
Right. So it's like, wow. And then when God will give you like a deep, specific word. Like I remember my first time, really just stepping out and giving word was to one of our friends, and he was just very, just very popular, very outgoing. A lot of people, kind of went around this guy, and I remember God put in my heart to tell him, "Hey, you're not alone." And it's like, first off, that's stupid. That don't make no kind of sense because there's so many people that gravitate around this guy. Why would I say that? Why would I say that? It's stupid. No. And it's just like, I don't know, it's like this. And so you said you get like a thought, right? A thought doesn't leave you. Like for me, it was like a tug in my heart. It was just like, I have to tell him this. I just, kind of like you were saying about, going to Dallas said, it's just a thought that just would not leave you. Or marrying Sabrina is just a thought that just would not leave you. And you knew it wasn't you. Like obviously, again, I would never think that about this guy. This guy was, again, very popular. Yeah. And I just remember going out and just saying, dude, in my heart, man, I just feel that God's saying, you're not alone. Who told you you were alone? And the dude just started bawling out crying, dude. I mean, he soaked my shirt. I mean, it was my favorite shirt. I don't wear it anymore because it's full of salt or, just tears.
You got the stains going?
Yeah, the stains are still going.
It's like you can wash it.
But, man, I mean, I just remember doing that, and it's amazing when you know you can hear God's voice and you can hit it spot on. And really, it's just getting out of your comfort zone and just like you said, just not being afraid to fail.
Yeah, man, you're hitting on some really deep things. And I don't know why, but I kind of just made it up in my mind. I hadn't heard this, but I kind of made it up in my mind. Like, if I fail, oh well, God loves me. If I fail miserably where I lose everything, I was like, dude, I'm in my 20s. I have God on my side. I assume I'm a pretty smart guy. I mean, I guess you never know. I was like, I can rebuild.
Yeah.
Even if I was in my 50s, 60s, I can rebuild quickly because I can learn from those life experiences. So that's just kind of a hard attitude I've had for a long time now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What is probably like one of the coolest words that you've ever given to somebody?
Oh, man. Let's see. I've had some really good ones where it just wrecks some people. I even had one, I'm not going to go into detail, but I gave it to the husband, and he went and took it to his wife, and his wife was just bawling.
Wow.
But one of those interesting ones I had is I'm from Texas, from the South, but I'm not so Southern that I like NASCAR. So, no offense. But I don't, and I don't really know anything about it. Yeah. And I don't have any friends who really like NASCAR as far as I know. Yeah. Unless you do.
No. Gosh, no.
Then we couldn't be friends.
Ooh, left turn. Ooh, another left turn.
That's how I feel about it. I'm like, I don't want to see this. Oh man! But there's this lady at my church, or my old church. Yeah. And the Lord said, you need to tell her that she's like the pace car. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And he goes, no, the pace car is the one who's out in front before the race, who is not only setting the pace, it's telling them when to go, it's telling them where to turn. He's guiding and directing the entire pack. Wow. And you need to show her that she is the pace car for her family, that she started off directing her kids and how they should live spiritually. And then the pace car will go into the pit and let them run their race. But yet the pace car is still always able to pull out of the pit when something happens to get them back on track.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh.
Did you know that before?
No. I didn't know that at all. And it was so weird because I went up to this lady and I said, hey, do you like NASCAR? She's like, oh, yeah, I really love NASCAR. And I was like, thank God. Because that actually makes sense for you. So I'd say that was probably one of the most interesting ones I've had.
Wow. Yeah. Have you ever given a word where just like, bomb? Like this was totally not God. This was just the pizza you had last night. Like, here we go.
Man, I can think of one that I kind of think that I was like, man, that's just me. And I think I was trying to force it. So I was kind of in a setting where everyone was practicing. Everyone's practicing giving prophetic words to people. And they're like, Dylan, what do you have? I'm like, oh, God. I've been doing this for 3 weeks. What are you doing? And I went to the bathroom just so I could try to hear God better because everyone was so loud.
You got to go to the throne,
I had to go
to God, dude.
I had to go to the throne room, dude. Unfortunately, I went to the wrong throne room. But I had just heard that my friend had a home church. Okay. And I was like, well, maybe his church will just supernaturally increase. And so I give that word to him. And I never visited this church until 8 months later. And there's like 3 people in the church. Like literally 3 people. And I think that's including me. Wow. And like at the date. So I was like, man, I think that was me.
Man, that's pretty funny, But that didn't stop you though, right?
No, absolutely not. When I was first reading about the prophetic, this guy was talking about, when you miss it. He said, don't be ashamed. He said, you can tell them, I'm learning. I'm sorry I missed it, but I'm still learning. Because we are. I mean, just because I've gotten like good at it doesn't mean that I can't get better.
Yeah. That's deep, man. Just keep going for it. Just keep, just not being afraid to fail. I think John Maxwell says, confidence is not, saying that you know everything. But confidence just means that you're not afraid to be wrong. And so I think that's what it is. It's just a lot of us, we just get in this place of fear. And I think fear robs us and robs, other people. Because, I just think back of some of the words that have been given to me. And, man, if they didn't give me that word in that time, what would have happened? I would have been depressed or just, not walking with the Lord even to the degree actually thinking about it. People speaking life and just the call of God in my life. And, what would have happened if they were just afraid or, no, that's not me, and they wouldn't have said it.
Yeah. Huh. That's powerful. You're kidding on another really good note is it's not about me. It's not about whether I'm going to get it right or not. It's about this person experiencing Jesus. Wow. And so just like your story with your friend of the guy who's really popular, you just wreck him with the love of God. Like, we don't know the hearts, and that's what the prophetic is able to do. It's able to bring God's heart from heaven and touch somebody with it. Wow. And so that's why I love it so much.
Amen. Well, Dylan, before we close off this awesome conversation, I'm always going to ask this question for word from the wise people, and it's just because don't forget, guys, Friday we'll be meeting again for our Friday fam talk, and just answering any questions that you have from just an email. Again, that's the heavyrevyshow@gmail.com. Email any questions that you have about Dylan's story too, and I'll get with him and answer the best that I can, or I'll just make it up. I'm just kidding. I won't do that.
I can see you doing that.
Maybe, actually. But what is one thing, Dylan, that you have failed at, and how did you recover? What did you learn from that?
Oof, man, the first one that comes to mind. I don't know. I feel like I should share this one. So I was on the prayer team at my old church. And I had quickly built up influence, and I don't know why I was like 30 years younger than everybody else on the team.
Wow.
And I was like late a few days. But anyways, though, my prayer team lead goes on vacation for 2 weeks, and she asked me to lead it. And I'm sitting there going, well, I've been in this group for almost a year. Man, I've not been developed. I feel like I came in and I'm leaving this church, I'm leaving this prayer team the same way I came in. And I said, I feel like everyone else here is doing the same thing. I had a heart to really just pour into these people. And so I said, well, you know what? I'm going to start. Let's do a Bible study next week because everybody's late, dude. Everyone was like 30 minutes late. And I said, if you guys show up at this time, the time you're supposed to be here, let's do a Bible study and let's pray together. Then let's go out there. And so I was proud of myself, man. I was so proud of myself. And I emailed my lead that, and oh my God, she flipped out on me.
Wow.
And she was so angry because it felt like I was undermining what she was doing. It felt like I was trying to take her position. Like I didn't believe in her as a leader, and it felt like I was just straight up disrespecting her.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my heart. She started kind of attacking my character. So it was making me a little angry. And so I'm getting ready to respond to this thing.
I'll type this thing out really quick. Hold on.
Really? All right, girl, let's go. And the Lord goes, you need to apologize. I was like, dude, I'm trying to develop these people. And he's like, I don't care. You need to apologize. He's like, you need to take this responsibility as a leader and apologize profusely. I was like, wow. All right, Lord. So I go ahead and I type out this long email just apologizing, just sharing her my intention.
Yeah.
And 2 hours later, she emails me back, oh, okay, I'm so sorry. Well, can you still lead this weekend and tell me how everything goes? I'm like, who are you? Yeah, so something I learned from that was just because I had the authority, so to speak, was, I don't want to undermine leadership above me. Wow. And there's ways to influence people without just making such an abrupt just entrance with it. And so I definitely handled that situation in the beginning wrong, but I was still able to own up to that mistake and just take the correction, take the responsibility as a leader and move on. And the Lord was able to put grace on that relationship to where we're all good now.
Praise God.
Yeah.
Man, that's sweet, man. Guys, no one's perfect. And so that's why Friday I'll be sharing my failure for the week. What did I fail at this week? And starting a new trend, #Fail Fridays. And it's going to be great. And so I hope you guys really enjoyed this conversation. Send me an email. Again, the heavyrevyshow@gmail.com. Tell me, what did you get from this? What are some things that you're afraid of to step out? And just as you've seen from Dylan's story, you don't have to be afraid. Sometimes you honestly have to risk it for the biscuit, okay? And that's the story behind that.
Yeah.
We'll let it go.
Yeah,
But
go.
but listen, guys, God loves you, and just as always, God desires a relationship, not perfection.
Amen.
This is the Heavy Revy Show, and we'll see you guys Friday.